Hello students, welcome to your first class for fractions. So today we learn what fractions are, we learn how to deal with different kinds of fractions, how to solve sums related to fractions and much more. Okay. So before going into the details and the mathematics behind it, I want you guys to have an intuitive understanding of what fractions are actually. Okay. So suppose you have a burger, right? So I won't represent it as a 3D burger, but yeah. So I'm taking the top view, and suppose you want to divide it between 5 of your friends, right? So you have a burger, or suppose let's have a cake. So this is your cake, and you want to divide it between 5 of your friends. So what you do is you just divide it into 5 equal halves, right? So now, if this is to be represented by a fraction, then this one part is, we say that this is 1/5 of the total cake. Suppose you have a burger and you want to divide it between just 2 of your friends. So you will divide it into half. So each of you will get half of the total burger. So this is what actually fractions are. They give us what a particular amount we are taking off from a whole amount, right? Okay. For a clearer understanding, let's suppose we are going back to your cake and you have divided into 5 pieces. So, if no one was there, you would have eaten the cake alone, right? Now, when you have 2 of your friends, you will divide and you will get it into half. So, you will eat half and you will give your friend half. Suppose you have 3 of your friends. What will you do then? So, both are your best friends. So, what you will do? You will actually divide the cake in 3 halves, and each of you will have the 1/3 of the cake. So you will divide it into 3 halves, right? Suppose you have 4 friends. In that case, what you will do is you will divide it into 4 halves, right? Each of you will have 1/4 of the total cake, and that is how it goes on. So a fraction basically is a measure of what a small amount is of the entire amount. Going by the definitions, this is important. Now, to understand it mathematically, fraction is just a numerator by a denominator. You will have two numbers, two integers, one at the top, one at the bottom. So the top one will be known as the numerator and the down one will be known as the denominator. So a typical fraction will be of the form a by b, where b is not equal to 0, right? That's a fraction. 2 by 3 is a fraction, 3 by 2 is a fraction, 5 by 2 is a fraction, 7 by 2 is a fraction, 1 by 3 is a fraction, 1 by 9 is a fraction, and so on, right? So you see that we are not taking b as 0. So what will happen if b is 0? That would mean that we have nothing, right? So suppose you don't have the cake. So if you don't have the cake, so you cannot divide it with your friends, right? So in that case, we cannot represent it as fractions. So we cannot represent a fraction where the denominator is not uh, an integer. Basically, we cannot represent a fraction if the denominator is 0. Correct? Okay. So now let us have an understanding of the classification of fractions. So basically, the first type of fraction that there exists is called a decimal fraction. So let us understand the classification first. So what is a decimal fraction? A decimal fraction is basically a type of fraction where the denominator, so you have the form a by b. Now here the denominator is either 10 or any other power of 10. So it will be either 10, 100, 1000 or any other power of 10 and nothing else. So in that case, we call this a decimal fraction, 1 by 10. Numerator can be anything, numerator can be any number, right? But the denominator must be equal to either 10 or any other higher power of 10. In that case, we call this a decimal fraction. Second, Vulgar fraction. Now this is opposite to the decimal fraction. So in this case, the denominator will not be, will be anything but 10, 1000, 100. So it can be any number, but it will not be any, it will not be divisible by 10, right? Okay. So 2 by 5 is there, 4 by 7 is there, 8 by 9 is there. So you see that these are any numbers, but they are not 10. So if the denominator is 10 or any other higher power of 10, it becomes a decimal fraction. If it is something other than 10, it becomes a vulgar fraction. Okay. Now let's continue. The third classification is proper fractions. And these are important. The next three classifications are important actually. What is a proper fraction? So I told you guys while explaining that we had a cake and we were divided into parts. So the denominator was actually always greater than the numerator. So you cannot have a 6 by 5, right? You cannot divide a cake into 5 pieces and you cannot feed them to 6 people, right? For that you need to divide it into 6. Okay? So this is what proper fractions are. This is the actual meaning of a fraction where the numerator, so if this is of the form a by b, then the numerator is always less than the denominator, right? So this is a proper fraction. Okay. Contrast to that, we have an improper fraction. Improper fraction. Now what's that and how does this occur? See, suppose you have an entire cake and then you have half of the other cake, right? So you're basically having one extra, one and half. So you're basically having 3 by 2, right? Okay. So this is what an improper fraction will look like. The numerator will be greater than the denominator. That's it. And the last one is a mixed fraction. A mixed fraction. Why is it called a mixed fraction? So see, whenever you hear the term a mixed fraction, always remember it is talking about a mixture of an integer and a fraction. So that what mixed fraction means. So you will have a integer, you will have a fraction attached. So this is a mixed fraction. Okay, we'll straight away go into how to convert a proper fraction or an improper fraction into a mixed fraction and vice versa. But for now, this is a mixed fraction. This is of the form of mixed fraction. So you have 2 1 by 7, 5 1 by 8, some examples. So basically you will have a total integer part and along with that you will have a subpart. So what that basically means is, so you have 2 and 1/4. It basically means you have an 1 extra, you have entirety of 2 and then you have 1/4. Similarly here, see, if we convert this into a mixed fraction, it will be like 1 1 by 2. So you have the entire cake and you have the half of the other cake. So that's what mixed fractions are about. Two theorems that you guys need to actually, these are intuitive theorems. So what will happen if a and b, so this is a fraction, if a is equal to b, what will happen? If a is equal to b, so what is 2 by 2? So you are dividing the cake in two halves and you are eating both of the halves. So basically you are eating the entire cake. So these cancel off, right? These cancel off and you get unity. So when numerator and denominator are equal, you get unity. That function results in unity or 1, right? Remember this, okay? There's nothing to remember, it's very intuitive, right? Okay. And if it is possible, suppose you have 2 by 5, you multiply and divide both the numerator and the denominator, suppose let's say with 2, right? What happens then? This becomes 4 by 10, right? So if you if you multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same number, the fraction does not change. So this is 2 by 5 and this is also 2 by 5. So if you cut it off by 2, it will be 2 by 5. So the fraction will be same. It's like cutting a cake into 5 pieces and eating 2 of it, which is same as cutting the cake into 10 pieces and eating 4 of it. So in result, you are just eating the same amount of portion, right? Right? Okay. So with that said and done, let's have a quick recap on what fractions are. So basically, what I told is fraction is basically a mathematical structure where you have a numerator and a denominator, right? Okay. So what we call a decimal fraction is when b is of the power of 10. For a vulgar fraction, b will not be a power of 10. For a proper function, for a proper fraction, a will be less than b. For a improper fraction, a will be greater than b, and for a mixed fraction, you will have other form, you will have n, a number, and then followed by a by b. Okay. Okay. Now let's learn to convert a mixed fraction, into a improper or proper fraction, right? Okay. Reason why we do is, why we convert the thing into a mixed fraction, because obviously when you have an improper fraction, this does not justify the thing of being a fraction. So in that case, what we do is we convert this into a mixed fraction such that you have an entire part, you have a total part, and then you have a fraction where this is a proper fraction, correct? Okay. Now let's look into converting some of the stuff into a fraction. Okay. So let me start off. Sorry for the glitch. Yeah. Suppose you have something like 3 2 by 7. Now the rule for doing this is, you have a given mixed fraction, let's say this, how to convert into a improper fraction. See, this will be, you have these two terms, you have this 3, the integral part, you have the denominator. So multiply them. So what 7 into 3? It's 21. Add 2 with it. Add 2, right? And divide it by 7. So this will be 23 by 7. Formally speaking, to have something like this, you have a given mixed fraction. To convert this, what you do is, you take the integral part into denominator plus the numerator by the denominator. So that is basically, and in the form of a by b, it is just int into b plus a by b. So let us take one sum. Let's take one sum and we'll have a proper understanding. Suppose you have this fraction 2 5 by 8, correct? So what do? We multiply 8 and 2, right? We multiply 8 and 2, so 2 into 8 plus 5 by 8, right? Integral part into the denominator plus the numerator divided by the denominator. Okay, 16 plus 5 is 21 by 8, right? Now, when you know how to convert a mixed fraction into a improper fraction, you should also know how to convert it back, correct? Suppose I have an improper fraction is like this. So how do you identify a improper fraction? Again, you have a denominator which is less than the numerator, right? Okay. So basically you have more than one cakes here because you are dividing in the cakes in 4 halves. So you have more than one cake in this case, right? Okay. How do you do this? We will divide this, right? So for divisions, we divide it like this. Probably you guys know it. So you have this like here. So what is the closest thing that we can go to 11 without exceeding 11? So if we have 4 into 1, it is 4. 4 into 2 is 8. 4 into 3 will be 12. Now 12 is greater than 11, so we cannot have it. So we can have this. We can subtract 8 from it. It will yield in 3, right? So the improper, the mixed fraction will be, you have the 2 entirely, so you can have the 2 cakes entirely, and then you will have 3/4 of the cake. So remainder is 3 by 4. Now if you convert back into the improper fraction, that is 2 into 4 is 8 plus 3 is 11 by 4. So it is justified. Let's look into one more example to get a clearer understanding. So 19 by 5, you have 19, you divide it by 5. So what is the closest that we can go to 19? So 5 into 3 is 15, 5 into 4 is 20. So we'll take 15. 5 into 3 is 15. So you can have 3 entire cakes, and then what will be remaining is 4. So 3, 4 by 5, right? Okay. One more thing that you need to remember is always the value of the fraction. I told this before as well. The value of the fraction remains unchanged. Remains unchanged. This is a theorem. You can note this down. If we multiply slash divide both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Suppose you have this 2 by 4, right? This is a fraction. So if you multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 2, so you have 2 by 2, 2 into 2, and here you have 4 into 2. This will result to 4 by 8, which on cancellation we'll learn about cancellation, but for now this fraction has the same value as this fraction, right? Also, if you divide it by 2, so it is 2 by 2 by 4 by 2, so you have 1 by 2. All these values are equal. So 1 by 2 equal to 2 by 4 equal to 4 by 8. So you see that numerator is half of the denominator always here. Okay. So no matter what, if we divide the entire fraction, the numerator and the denominator by the same number, if you multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, the value remains equal. Okay. Right. Now, if you know this, then the next thing is how to convert. So I told you guys that 1 by 2, 2 by 4, and 4 by 8, they are equal. But you seem to have 3 different representations. How to convert them to the lowest form, right? To check the equality, we will convert these all fractions to the lowest form. Convert to lowest form. Okay. The formal thing is how to do it. You have a fraction, suppose like this. What you will do is you will find out the HCF of 4 and 8. So what is the highest common factor that can divide 4 and can divide 8, right? So the HCF, you will find the HCF. After a point of time it becomes intuitive, but right now just find the HCF. So the HCF of 4 and 8 is obviously 4. So when we divide, we will divide the numerator and denominator by 4. So 4 by 4 will result in 1, and this will result in 2. Now this converts the fraction into the lowest form. So what you do, given a fraction a by b, find out the HCF of a and b, divide both the numerator and the denominator by the HCF. Okay, let's take one more example. Okay, so 4 by 8 was there, 2 and 4. So 2 and 4, you will have the HCF as 2, because 2 can divide 2, 2 can divide 4, right? So this will result in this. This results in small as well. Okay, same thing. Let's do 2 more problems. Okay, 48 by 60. Now how to tackle this? So you have 48 and 60. The highest number that can divide both is 12. So 12 into 4 is 48, 12 into 5 is 60. So divide this, it will 4, this will divide it by 5, right? So 4 by 5. Okay. Now suppose you don't want to calculate the HCF of a number. So you see that this is a even number, this is a even number. So you have certain numbers that you can think that can divide this number. So an even number is always divisible by 2. So try and divide this by 2. So this will result in 24 by 30. Again, these are even numbers, divide 12 by 15. Now when it's 12 by 15, now one number is even, one number is odd. This point you need to find the HCF. There is no other way around, right? So you have reduced this so that your calculations are simpler, but now when the parity has changed, one is even, one is odd, you obviously need to find the HCF. Okay, so the HCF in this case will be 3, right? So 3 will divide 12, and 3 will divide 15. Okay, so that results in 12 by 4 by 5. Okay, next thing, and the last thing, suppose you have something called 18 by 27. How to convert this? See, now one number is even, one number is odd, so the parities are different. So what you need to do is you need to divide the numbers by, you need to find the HCF. In such cases where you have these kind of cases, try and divide, see if the number is dividing by 3 or so. Try with 2, try with 3, try with 5, try with 7, try with 9. So these are the actually the, try with the single digit number. If they are both divisible, then you can very well reduce it. Okay, we'll try and divide this by 2. If we divide it by 2, the numerator is 9 and the denominator is not divisible by 2. So 2 won't work. Let's try with 3. So if we divide 18 by 3, it is 6. If we divide 27 by 3, this is 9. So we can do that. We can again check that this is even and this is odd. So again the parity is different. We can try with 2. 9 will not be divisible by 2. So you can cancel out 2, right? It is divisible by 3. So you divide by 3, you get 2 by 3. Simpler method is when you have things with different parity, find the HCF. The HCF of 18 and 27 is 9, because 9 into 2 is 18 and 9 into 3 is 27. So divide this by 9. 18 divisible by 9 is 2 and 27 is 3. So you directly get the answer, right? Whenever you feel that you are not able to calculate the HCF, try dividing it by one digit numbers. If both the numerator and the denominator is divisible, well and good, you can reduce the fraction. Okay, this is called the fraction reduction, right? Okay, so this is the method. So the alternative method which I told you is, just suppose this is 48 by 60, write down the factors, right? Break it down into the prime factors. So theoretically you need to break it down to the prime factors. So 48 is 2 into 24, 24 is 2 into 12, 12 is 2 into 6, 6 is 2 into 3, and that's it. So you get 6 into 2 is 12, 24, 48. Here you will have 2 into 30, which is 4 into 15, which is 15 is like this. So what you do is, now just cancel off the terms, equal terms. So 2 and 2 gets cancelled, 2 and 2 gets cancelled again, 3 and 3 gets cancelled, right? So you're left with 4 by 5, correct? Now, I told you that these fractions were equal. This has a name, right? So 1 by 2, if it is equal to 2 by 4, so if their lowest forms are equal, so suppose this is 48 by 60 and this is 4 by 5, so they are equal, right? So these fractions are called, this has a name and this is called equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions, right? Alright. And the last thing to tackle today, is simple and complex fraction. So what is a simple fraction? What does your intuition tell you? So simple fraction is where both the numerator and the denominator are integers. So what we dealt with till now is all of them are simple fractions. So 3 by 8, minus 2 by 3, 4 by minus 8, they are always simple fractions, right? Oh, one more thing, when you have a negative sign, just so you have the signs of the numerator and the denominator. The resultant of the fraction will be the binary equivalent. So what I mean to say is, if the numerator, so plus minus minus plus 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 and minus minus, this results in minus, this results in minus, this results in plus, this also results in plus. So when you have things with opposite signs, then just keep a minus there. When you have things with equal signs, keep a plus there. Okay. Okay. So what is a complex fraction? A complex fraction is a fraction where you have the numerator or the denominator can be fractions as well, right? So what I mean to say is, suppose a by b, so a is 2 by 3 and b is suppose 8. So this is a complex fraction. Okay. To convert this into a simple fraction, you just need to, you have 2 by 3 and you are dividing it by 8. So basically what you are doing is, you are dividing it this by 8. So you can take it like this. Okay. So numerator divided by 1 by denominator. So that is how do you convert a complex fraction into a simple fraction. That's all for today. I hope you guys took a lot. Hope you guys enjoyed. Meet you in the next class with the examples.